Hi everyone, my name is Thorpe. I'm a corporate partner at Taylor Wessing. Taylor Wessing is an international law firm. We advise companies across the technology sector, but primarily my role is to advise companies within the video games sector, both on the investment side and on the M&A side. And today I'm joined by a panel of experts, as we just heard. So we've got Piotr, Mateusz, Kinga, and Wojciech. So to minimize the words that I say, maximize the words that they say, I'll hand over to each of them now individually just to give a 30-second rundown. So maybe Wojciech, if you go first.
Okay, so thank you for interview and to sit with you here. My name is Wojciech Iwaniuk. I'm running investor relations agency and I'm working with the gaming company since 2010. I was starting with CD Projekt as an IR manager. And now, since 2018-19, I'm also helping companies in raising capital. And in some moments, then most of those companies were gaming companies. So I made more than 50 public offers of the gaming companies in Poland.
Thank you.
Hey. I'm Kinga. I'm partner at Erebor Capital. We invest in game developers, mainly in premium. Right now we maybe start mobile, but we invest on every stage, preferably early stage. We prefer producers of games in a niche, in understanding the market, understanding the games. We personally invested on the beginning of Star Wars and as a fund, for example, in Plot Twist, which created Last Case of Benedict Fox, and I think it's all.
My name is Piotr Majewski. I am CEO of Find Funds. Find Funds is a Polish equity crowdfunding platform. We are well known for doing equity campaigns for gaming studios. I guess 70% of all the projects we have were gaming, and we were on the market since 2016. So we were on the market during the time where there was a trend for buying the game studios, and later on when the market was a little bit tough, I would say.
Okay. My name is Mateusz Marcinkiewicz. I'm board member and an investment advisor in MyInvests SA. We are in process, maybe in end of the process, to do the crowdfunding research in Estonia. We have really platforms, so I hope we can start operating in end of March, maybe first week of April.
Thank you, thank you. So this panel is on global investment and M&A trends within the video game sector. And I suppose to set the scene before we talk about the outlook for this year and how we see those trends going this year, it would be remiss of us if we didn't talk about where we came from over the past 12 months. So just to kick things off, it would maybe be helpful to hear from you Wojciech, on your thoughts over the past 12 months and how you've seen the video game sector react to global economic trends.
So unfortunately, my view is not so positive. There is few cases. There is a lot of studios which are still making those games. They started 2, 3, 4 years ago. They are out of money, and there is a problem to bring money for the small and middle one studios. The second thing is that there is a lot of games on the market. So when I was starting cooperation, for example, with Playway, there was hundreds of games per year at this team. Now it's thousands of games. So the model in which small studios were running their business, I think now it's not suitable for the market because there is too much competitors, and we need to wait and maybe it is really hard to see, but or to hear. But a lot of studios need to collapse. Those games need to reduce of the volume of the games, and maybe in 2-3 years we can come back with the potential, because the number of the games are rising much more than the market, and there isn't enough clients to buy all those stuff which we are producing. Of course, there are some blockbusters, but it is like in cinema, it is a really special part of the market, and you need to spend although a lot of money to produce the game, and although as much as the producing, as much to the marketing and to make it mainstream. So I think it is good time to see what good is on market, what is not ready, looking for some occasions, and go with it with 2-3 years.
I think that's a really good point around saturation, and that definitely resonates in terms of market saturation. Because if you look at the statistics around investment, private investment into the video games sector, I've actually got some stats here. So in 2019, it was $4 billion worldwide. In 2020, it was $7 billion. That then increased to $14.8 billion in 2021 and 2022. And then last year, it dropped to 2.5 billion. So that's a drop from 14.8 billion to 2.5 billion. And if you look at where that 2.5 billion was placed, it's mainly in the earlier stages of the economy. So if you're a more mature developer, or if you're looking to release a more mature game, then you really struggled last year and probably continue to struggle this year. Most of that investment was in seed and Series A type investments. And it'd be maybe interesting to hear from you, Piotr and Kinga, around whether you saw more activity around the kind of crowdfunding side of things in the earlier stage of investing.
I guess there's nothing to add to Wojciech. The last year was a catastrophe for the crowdfunding side as well, I would say. There are some reasons for that. Not only that the trend for investing in gaming has ended a little bit among small investors, I would say. And many of them just suffer loss after investing previous years. But the other thing is that we are in the environment of high interests, and this is one of the reasons why there is no capital on the market, especially among those crowdfunding investors who actually don't have a surplus to invest. And this situation is taking place not only the last year, but at least 2 years from now. So this is how it looked like from the crowdfunding side.
Yeah. Kinga?
Should I talk about what happened in last year? Because we probably all know how we can call 2023. My favorite word to describe it is cluster of fuck. But you can choose your own, yeah? Basically, as all said, the money started coming to game dev sector. COVID started, every late stage fund open the trend book and see what the thingy we will do when we are locked down. And the analytics says like, of course, playing the games, because you are sitting at home, you are playing the games. Let's invest in game dev sector. And basically, what they did in 2020 and 21, especially in 21. But nobody there but you know, the COVID will end. The people will go outside of homes. They will not stay at homes and play games. And nobody think about one more thing, that everybody is thinking the same. And they put too much money in the market. Too much money, it's always killing the market. It's simple. If you put too much money, the valuation grow up. The company spends too much money on building things. Do you remember how many people work in game dev before COVID? It was, I think, if we just cut the conference, maybe not this one, but some, you can take half of the people, and they won't be in this environment before COVID. The markets grow up in the number of people. And we just not only pay more for making games because we pay more people to do it, but we pay more because there was more people doing the games. The games which was made by 10 people start to be made by 25 or 30 people. And there was basically the same games. They didn't get bigger, better, but they were made by many more people. And as well, you need more people for marketing, and marketing was more expensive because there was 5 games and now it's 25. You have to pay more for post, you have to pay more for user acquisition, and the cost rise. And of course, game dev market get bigger, 4%, but the costs get 4 times. That basically means that you have to cut that profit between not 5 companies, but 25. Then people start earning less. And especially publishers, which get money from that later stage, it's we didn't earn money. And what you tell, interest rates rise up, that's also a problem for publishers. Because publishers are not VC investable. They are older companies. They get money from selling their project or from late-stage VCs. Sorry, not VCs, private equity or late-stage funds, like pension funds. But they don't want to invest right now in game dev. They have things to buy, hotels, factories, stuff like that, because debt gives you money. And this is mainly the reason why the thing gets so bad. We're
kind of hearing this story of too many games, too many companies, overspend within the market, massive saturation, and then amidst high interest rates, high inflation, big geopolitical events like the invasion of Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East. So all of this is disturbing the market. Is there any good part to 2023, Mateusz?
No. If you come back, so we can situation that in 2020, the game dev sectors by revenue grow by 20%. In 2021, 10-11. For last year is less than 3%. So real estate, for example, have 6%. Mining sector, where we see the climate changes, grow in worldwide 5%. So if we say that the mining sector is defense sectors who grow low, that gaming going lower. This is not you say that the money in sector is much lower than 2-3 years. We see the same that now are coming companies who want to do crowdfunding. They do some round 2 years before, 3 years before, and we see that the value of company is now 40% of the before, maybe 50%. So we see the problems. In part, we have the same problem in stock exchange, that company who was public offer 2 years ago go to market, and we see minus 12, minus 50, minus 70% for the first day. So we see that the market would be changed. So feels exact. When I speak with one studio 3 years ago, they say that they prepare the budget from 2.5 million euro. I say, why? Because our advisors say that if we don't have 2 million euro, the publishers say that's not in this topic. We need big budget. We have a lot of money. So they start do gaming, but they say also, if we have 1 million euro, we can do the same games. But If we have 2 million, so Kinga say we can have no 12 people. We have 20 people. We can go to better conference. We can fly to San Francisco. We can fly to Las Vegas. Go to Japan. So we see that.
Yeah.
I see. I guess one plus from last year and the previous one. I mean, a plus coming from the situation we had on the gaming industry. I guess that many of unskilled managers will be whipped out from the market. I remember times when there was a trend in investing in studio games, and I saw people who were like economists. They didn't know much about the gaming industry. They didn't know how to make it, but still they were setting up the companies, and they thought they're gonna run it well and go public someday. So I guess the situation, the tough situation the gaming industry has, will get rid of those who are unskilled and who has a lack of knowledge. How to do it, with how many people, how to manage the team. So maybe the outcome of the situation will be a little bit like a professionalizing of the industry.
Yeah, I think often these events, whether economic or otherwise, they're often seen as opportunities to reform industries or to make the industry better and more nimble and more dynamic. And I suppose that leads on to the next question, because there is still some investment.
I want to add one thing. Maybe it's not a plus or minus of the situation, the gaming sector, but we all need to realize that we are all thinking like old school. And this model which were working 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it will never work again. And we are still thinking that the market will be better, or someone will give more money, or there will be a little number of competitors. No. If you want to make success in the business now, as you see the examples, you need to cooperate with big name, with provider of the technology, with you need to have support like Meta, like Xbox, like PlayStation. And maybe after first game, where you will earn only a little bit money, you will create some IP. And only the IP have the value now on the market. Not the idea, not the team, not the... Of course, it is also important, but if you don't have big IP, you don't have nothing. You are playing like in a casino, and you will never know what will happen. And as you see, for example, in a cinema or movie sector, for example, Squid Game, or I don't know, Polish example. One friend of mine is Maciek Kawulski. For example, he was producer of very not good film 365 dni. They earned at the first film few millions. At the second edition, he earned like 60 million PLN, because on the United States people were watching this film. I don't know why, but they were. So if you got the IP, if you got someone who will show your product, who will push the client to buy or use this product, you can make a success. Without this, you are, in my opinion, if you are a small or middle studio, you are like more in casino than making a business.
Okay. So I think that does lead on then to who is still investing in the video games industry. Is it just now the big players who are backing bets on IP rights going forwards, or is it more diverse than that? Are there other players in the market who are looking at other types of maybe short-term investments?
So as you said, I think no one knew. In my opinion, all of those money which you tell about 2023 is like a follow-on round. So someone who were investing in the company and they are near to announce the title, they are putting more money to finish the product. There is no fresh money at the gaming sector investments.
Mm-hmm.
We? No, but we in this, it's more than just Erebor. The venture capital is always there. The venture capital will not go to the different area because it's down. It's even the venture capital love when it's down because it's the best place when to invest. But the tickets are smaller when in the places when you see millions before COVID or in COVID, you will have thousands right now. The tickets in US, in London, in Poland are right now exactly the same. Of course, there are really big deals going on at the same time. Of course, Neov is buying X to the project guys. That will happen. The question is, are you them? It's not only that you are X something. You have to have also money and put money in the company. If you are not them, don't count on millions. You will not get it. You have to think about building smaller games because that's what VCs wants right now. Smaller and cheaper. And yeah, VC money is there. But the thing is, if you get it. And that's dependent on your team, your experience, and the budget.
And maybe, Mateusz, if we talk about investment, and that might be the smaller type of investment that Kinga talked about, are you seeing any changes in the kind of terms that people are investing in? Are you seeing people approach companies in a different way in terms of how they approach diligence or how they submit term sheets to companies?
Yes, I see that if someone wants to invest now in gaming, they have very good, how good is to say, hopeful that this market would be good. But he not investing that we have the bubble, but he see that this market has some perspective to grow in perspective maybe not 1 year or 2 or 3. So they now what Kinga say, when we have not much money, you have easier to find good investment because you don't have situation that you want to invest and they say okay, but they say that that can give money in 200 more. Sorry, they can invest in much bigger value of company. So now, if you starting talking with some companies, you can do business because they know that they don't have 5 or 6 offers. They have 1. So if you don't give money, they can start project.
Mm-hmm. I would say that most of small private investors, they don't invest now. Most of them. Some of them, if they do, I think that most of those who would invest would go towards VCs and they would invest into VCs as to get rid of due diligence and leave it to the people who are supposed to do it better than them. If I would be a studio right now, I guess the way I would seek for the money is to go to a VC, not to seek it through the crowdfunding campaign.
Mm. And in what we do, we see a lot of VC investment come across the board. And if we were having this conversation 2 years ago, I would say that VC investment was fairly light touch diligence and quite quick to close because it was a competitive situation. And now that balance of power has flipped the other way, where companies are chasing VC term sheets more so than ever. And so there's been a gradual slowdown in the way that VCs approach transactions as well, and it is more difficult to close rounds than it was previously. But then diligence is one aspect of that. I suppose valuation is the other. Are you still seeing a big gap in valuation expectations? So difference between what people want to invest and how the company values themselves?
We see more gap now.
Yeah.
Because we see situation that companies know that the value is lower, but they think, okay, 20% is good. But I think it's more, not 20, but 50%. So when we say gap, they are much bigger than 2-3 years because, okay, if I don't give them money, go to the other person. So this situation that or invest or do not invest. So market also always know what's always true. So if the market is good, value are growing, it's okay. But now is situation that studio think that would be not the situation is better that investors see the situation for me. So they think that the value is correct, but not the correct is not that bigger that the market want to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The thing that most developers don't know is basically that the amount which is invested in the company, connected to valuation, connected to budget, or maybe they know, but they ignore that. Ignore that if you're looking for a lot of money, you will have to give a lot of shares or stocks, or you have to make your valuation huge. And the worst thing you can do to the company, the worst, is to make too big valuation. It's really hard to fix it. It's almost sometimes impossible to fix too big valuation because you have to do down rounds. You will have to tell people who invest in you, sorry guys, you paid too much for my company. Right now, we will sell our stocks and share to somebody else cheaper. Cheaper after having, like, I don't know, a year of development. And we supposed to have a higher valuation. That's really hard. And some of people will have agreements with you saying you cannot do that if they don't agree. Of course, there are ways to make it, there are ways to talk to them, but it's a hard situation. It's so much easier to fix too small valuation. And it's not that big loss, seriously. If you evaluate something too small, it's basically fixing on the next round and nice. But if you do too big valuation, then fixing this position is the worst thing that happened to you. That's...
Yeah. I completely agree. Valuation is completely a double-edged sword because if you're a real rocket ship, then you don't have to worry about it. You're always going to increase in value. But if you end up doing reasonably well, you may end up in a position where when you look to an exit, your backers, your investors won't support that exit unless it gives them a minimum level of return. So valuation can be a real challenge. We'll come to questions at the end. I just wanted to ask, do you see a way of kind of combating the valuation issue? Is there a way that people park the issue through earnouts or similar arrangements where they can sidestep it for a time?
So, in my opinion, we are talking about two words, and we cannot talk about the valuation in the gaming sector because valuation of the big companies and also this discussion of the due diligence how you can make due diligence in a team which is making first game and there is 15 people. What kind of due diligence you want to do that? It's more like psychology than due diligence. Of course, when you are buying Techland, you need to check the legal issues with the IP. Is everything is okay? For example, CD Projekt is a good example that there can be some problems with the with those cases. And big gaming companies got the back portfolio, which is still earning some money, generating cash. And we know that even it won't be a big success, they will create some cash or some money on a title. In small studios, it is like more behavioral. You like people or no? You think that they won't fuck up and they won't go home before finish the game, or no? Due diligence is like more your personal relation with those people. Of course, the competition, passion, state of mind, think that is they are earning enough money to be focused on this project, not like checking the papers or some other financial issues. So now I think that there is no discussion of the valuation. A lot of companies need money, and I think they will take it almost in any valuation to finish the project.
And are we seeing other mechanisms like earnouts? And the reason I say that is because I would mark 2023 as the year of the earnout, because when it came to companies, they valued themselves up here, and investors were valuing them down here, and there wasn't really a way of bridging that gap through commercial discussion. And so the way that most companies parked that was to say, well, we'll agree a lower valuation than we'd like to, but if we do as well as we think that we're doing, then you will pay us more. So it effectively sidestepped that discussion for a time. But that's of course not without risk. But did you see that play out in practice? And what do you think are the kind of risks associated with that? Is that something that you're favourable to, or are you concerned by that?
In some ways, I'd be okay with stuff like that. I think it's always bring the level of complication in something. Yeah, it's always. I think a lot of times it never happens that positive scenario is not going. I rarely see that positive scenario goes in this. Seriously. I remember the conversation I had in one studio, I think 3 years ago. I made them the offer, and they got, I don't want to tell the name of the publisher, but it's huge, yeah. They get a deal for, if the game will be successful, the publisher have a right to buy IP for a fixed price, yeah? And I told them the first thing, it's the worst deal for you. Because they were really happy that they will get $1 million. They basically already feel it in their pockets. They basically was like, $1 million for us. Awesome deal. And they're like, seriously guys, this is the worst case scenario for you. Because if you do something really, really good, of course I wasn't thinking that they will do, but for example, let's believe they will be the mega hit. The IP will be worth so much more, yeah? And the publisher have like great deal in the pocket. But what will happen if a game will go bad? The agreement was they don't have to buy it. then basically have your worthless IP for you. Yeah, like, stay with that. And with the mediocre scenario, the publisher can decide. Okay, we see the potential for the second, let's buy it for 1 million and tell them to do with that million something, because they already have 1 million, then we as a publisher will not give them another million, or we will give them another million, and the game will cost 2 million, yeah, of course, because like we already pay for that. And we own IP, then you cannot do anything else, we will be the publisher. Or they can say like, we are not buying that, but let's stick with the deal for 1 million, yeah, because it's a good deal. And this is the thing with that kind of deals. They rarely go well for producers, but it can be done. It can be done with convertibles, or in Poland saves will be hard to do, but it can be done in very different ways. You don't have to even set up a valuation, yeah, because you can do safe, which will say the valuation will be set someday in the future when we will basically know how much you are worth, which is also not the best deal for producers. And you can do it. The question is if it's good for producers. Basically never. It's good for investors always.
Yeah. And so we've heard about last year, we've heard about where things are today. Maybe Peter, it'd be good to get your thoughts on where we go from here. What's your outlook for the next year, and what do you think companies can do to put themselves in the best position if they're looking to either raise investment or maybe looking towards an exit?
So basically, we said that there is a huge supply of games right now, so it's not so easy to have sales on the market, and this is as a result of that there are valuation, there are problems with the capital and stuff like that. I was thinking about what to do, what studios should do the next year, and my thought is, like, if we know that there is a lack of capital and there is a lot of games, and gamers have a lot of options to choose from, I was thinking about seeking the cross-industry collaborations, trying to find some people, some market which was not found yet. Saying not seeking among gamers, people who are buying games, like, and those who are like watching YouTubers, but YouTubers focused on the gaming industry. But try to seek the market that is untouched yet, and maybe driven by influencers, but from different industries. And in that way, try to find those influencers who actually have an impact on people, and try some collaboration with them to seek a new market for the games. As everybody is competing for gamers that are actually on the market, but there are a lot of people who are buying, or they can be buying if they are convinced by their influencers. Mm-hmm. So I would seek that way the next year to try to find some other market, not to focus so much on competing on the market that is actually existing.
It's a good point. I saw that Lionel Messi tweeted Valorant yesterday to his 500 million Twitter followers. So I'm sure Riot Games was pleased about that. But even if that happened on a smaller scale with studios looking for similar influencers, I think that's a really good point. Maybe Mateusz, do you have any thoughts?
Yes, I think that we have some small plus on the next maybe 2-3 years is AI, because how to Kinga say, more teams are go bigger and bigger. Now we see that if the company will be safe, they need to reduce cost. So don't, if you have 3 programmer, now you have 1. So you have AI who help you with do that. So for me, if the team have good idea and some good thinking about the project and they know what they want to do, but they have problem resources, maybe AI is some place that you thinking about to do that. Because one reason that I see that now we need to do game better. So if you have 2 years project, now you better that you do go in 18 months or maybe 1 year. So everything who would be quicker to do that will be better for you now.
I want to leave time for questions. I'll just come to Kinga and Wojciech, but if you have questions, please think about them, and we'll do that after these.
Because I have to disagree. I have to disagree that our problem is number of games. Basically, it's not. Because players rarely buy games which are like, I don't know, 3, 4 years old. And games end. Basically, you pay for some hours, you pay for some... Even Baldur's Gate ends. Seriously, if you love Baldur's Gate, you will stop playing at some moment in that. And even on Steam, you get a lot of games. I don't remember the statistic, but I think 60% or something don't sell more than for 1K USD. Seriously, it's that bad. And basically, it's not your competition. It's done in the basement. That we don't care about that. If you have a budget for games for the team, it's not your competition, and this will grow up in this year. You have to think about the competition which is yours, which will do games right now, and basically 2025 and 2026 will be empty. Seriously, games are produced for the time. You cannot, it's always saying that if you bring 9 women, you will not have a child in months. And it's exactly the same with the games. And right now, games are not produced because there is no money. If you are producing the game, you already are ahead of the competition because they didn't start it. And if you will be able to finish your game in 2025 and 2026, it will be so much easier for you than if you end the game last year, because nobody will be there on the market. The marketing will be cheaper. The guys from production is basically lying on the street asking for a job right now. Yeah, take them. But you have to start production right now. And the thing you have to remember, the market will grow up in 2025. The money will come in 2026. You will be tempted to take that money and make that game bigger, better. Don't do that. Take that money for the second game. End this and do the new thing. Because if you take it, you will do the same mistake that everybody did in 2021. Because they take more money to make games bigger, better, prettier. Players don't care about that. And the game, release it on that empty market, and maybe you will be successful. Maybe players will love your game, and your chance, it's so much bigger than last year. Because you will not have a competition for that. And you have to convince someone to fund your game, cut costs. You can use AI for that, but smart. Seriously, I really understand, see Midjourney on the slides. I can really recognize if somebody work on that. And if you put on slides and say, it's our models. Yeah, definitely. But also I can see if somebody telling me, oh, AI will do that, this and this. And I'm like, seriously, guys, I know things. I have a degree on that even. But you can, if you tell me something like that, We will use AI for voiceover. Perfect. For localization. Good. For cutscenes with Sora. Awesome. We will use some Copilot for coding. Perfect. But if you tell me we will do the game because AI will do it, not us, yeah, of course. Like, we just prompt it and it will be done, yeah? And then I will be, nice, guys.
Yeah,
Really.
I think a concern. And maybe, Wojciech, just last word. What's your outlook?
I'm looking for first question.
Okay, so not optimistic then. Do we have any questions in the room? I saw a question here earlier.
Hi. First of all, thank you for such a great insight. And I have a question about additional round, like bridge round. You mentioned it a little bit, and I wanted to ask, is there any like specific red flags that companies we see that invest in gaming right now looking in terms of runaway? So I had a couple of conversations with the different friends we see, and they say, yeah, we're not going to invest if you run away less than a year, less than 2 years, less than 3 years. What is your thoughts about this? What's the perfect runaway studios or companies need to shoot for?
So, perfect runway.
Why are we running for you? We are VC. We rarely do something different than Ireland. Then I don't know why you are watching on me, everybody. But yeah, year is good for us. But
Because we're investing.
yeah, but early stage. Yeah, but it depends. It really depends. But it's always good to cut costs. Yeah, and always good to be safe. If you have like year of runway, you probably will fundraise in half of a year because it's basically that. If you can have like longer runway, it will be easier for you, and it's depending from the investor if they want to invest or.
But for example, when company raise X amount of money and they say this is our runaway for next year or 2 years, is there a connection between the runaway and the amount that you need to raise?
Of course, there is a connection, but I think that if you are looking money for 1 year, when you are taking money at the bank account, you are starting next round. So you are not working at the game, you are still making roadshow to raise the capital. So you always need to have enough money to finish some project because it is the most important. And the second thing is to choose always the investor who can understand your business, not to, as our friend said, not to take the big valuation, because someone can give you money at the higher valuation, but what will happen if you will get some problem and he is running the petrol station or something like that? He will never put next money to your business. And when you are working with someone who got a few gaming investments, who know that there isn't any project where the timeline is at the beginning is the same with those at the end, it is much more easier to take follow-on rounds, maybe from this investor or friends of them or some investment funds which were cooperating with them. It is much more easier in the difficult times like today to get money if you got smart investors on board.
I don't know if I should tell you that, but if that investor didn't explain that for you, it's basically an excuse. We do that nice words to sometimes tell you things that we are not interested in the way and put that excuse because you cannot really disagree with that. It's the opinion. But if he didn't explain, he didn't say like, do this, do this, do that, it's basically an excuse to not invest. Just to tell you that nicely.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for the conversation. Very useful. You said that if you are a small indie studio, couple of people doing something, it's not a good way to go to the crowdfunding. It's better to go to the venture capitalism, right? So the question is, we ship couple titles and we need now more than €1 million. Is it a good way to reach out to you, or we should go to the publisher, or what is the solution in this case if we are very, very small?
I would say if you are considering a crowdfunding campaign, we need to distinguish who you are going to be trying to reach. Because from my point of view, as a platform, it's extremely hard to get money from people you don't know and people who doesn't know you. As you are a small studio, it's hard to have a brand, let's say. You're small, you're new, so it's extremely hard to get those who don't know you yet. But if you are a small studio and among of people in that studio, you got people who have a contact to those who have money, that would be the way to try to collect the money. But do you need a campaign in that? I don't think so. So considering like a huge campaign going through a platform right now would be risky for me, as you're going to spend your money and there is a low possibility you're going to convince those who doesn't know you to give you the money. I mean, among the small investors, small private investors. But the way is to try to use your own contacts and try to reach people who can know you or can know people who work with you. And those, I would guess, would be more likely to invest in you than those who are typical campaign users.
Okay, we've got 2 minutes left, so we're going to have to wrap up shortly. But I just thought we'd finish with a fun question. All the questions are fun, of course, but this is more fun. So if you had to give people one top tip for the year ahead, if they're looking to raise, they're looking to exit, one tip, what would it be, Mateusz?
Difficult to say now. Maybe in the end of the year we see easier to say that. I see that some perspective in some kind of smart games. I'm also invested in smart companies who work retro shooters, and I don't think that the seller can be so good. So I think that probably there are some niche when maybe you don't have 500,000 sold, but you have half of the discs, or maybe one of third, but the budget of this project are also more are less than in the normal game. So probably I think would be something like that. Some niche when you see that are more than 5 of 10 games that people play, because if you have you do good games, you can easy to tie to them. So it will be easier to find gamers for that.
Peter, top tip, just 30 seconds.
I would just repeat what I said before. A tip for small studios: seek for cross-industry collaborations. Seek for the money where nobody is seeking, and seek for influencers who gonna link you up with the people that nobody else is gonna be linked to.
Kinga,
Cheaper, smaller.
So if you are talking about the financing in gaming, in my opinion, the market is really hard. So you need to be open to all of the kinds of the financing. You cannot think that I will take money from crowdfunding or private investors or publisher or I will make IPO. You need to be open and ready to do one of these in the same time. Because if you will think only about the one way, it can be hard to do this.
So thank you all. Please put your hands together for Wojciech, Kinga, Piotr, and Mateusz. Thank you.
Thanks.